Of our summit and our university's collaboration celebration, I'm going to ask Professor Louise Gita, the Dean of the Faculty of Education of the University of the Free State, just to do the welcome.
Good afternoon, colleagues. This is an awkward position. I can't see you. I could see you clearly from there. But I assume you're still there. Tell me when the last person leaves the room so that I'm aware that you are gone. I have a very simple task, and thank you, Cobus, for the invitation. And the task is to welcome all of us to this second part of the program, where we come together to celebrate the university's collaboration event. But as you all know, that in the African tradition, we are very generous. We do tend to be generous. If I have a two-bedroomed house, and you come to my house for a visit, I'll usually get off the bed and go to the children's room so that you can have the main bedroom. And we don't find it strange to do that. So this year, as Cobus does every year when he invites guests from outside, yourselves, for this gathering, he asks one of the lecturers in the faculty to vacate the room, the biggest auditorium that we have in the education building. And it so happens that I know the person who teaches a class there on Fridays because she lives with me. So Cobus, so in the evening she tells me that Cobus has guests and he's asked me to move my students out of that. And I say, you know what we do when we have guests. So she says, okay. She goes back the next day, tells Cobus, okay, Cobus, you can have the auditorium in the new education building. So she tells the students, students, you will use another venue. Cobus comes back a few weeks later. He says, no, I no longer need that. I have more important guests. And so I need the bigger room, not the one you gave me, and a better one. And so Cobus moves the whole gathering here and leaves the education auditorium that side because this is the best we have on campus. So to our guests and to yourselves and everybody, you are in the best place. We gave you the best room. Let me take the opportunity to welcome members of the University Rectorate and Council members, Professor Francis Peterson, the Rector and Vice Chancellor of the University, Mr. Willem Lowe, the Chairperson of the FS Council, Professor Puleng Linkabula, the Vice Rector, Institutional Change, Student Affairs and Community Engagement at the university, and then also take the opportunity to welcome our funders, SANRAL Executive and board members. I'm sure in the morning or during the day, Cobus, you found time to take the SANRAL Executive and board members to the Winky Direko to show them particularly the second floor, which we were just about to rename the SANRAL floor. You will see that from one corner to the other, we almost colonized it. If I wasn't the dean, I would move everybody out of there so that it's a Sanral corner. But now they're going to say, all sorts of things, nepotism, why are you doing that? But there's a whole floor in the second floor where we house the Sanral chair. Mr. Skumbuzo Matozoma, the Sanral CEO, welcome, sir. Mr. Dumisani Nkabinde, the Sanral Regional Manager, Eastern, which is Free State and KwaZulu-Natal, Sagwamgela Baba. Ms. Elna Fori, who is the Sanral Development Planner. Whenever you see Elna, you know you've got to deliver. And there's Elna. We welcome you again. We also have amongst us other colleagues, invited guests, colleagues from the Rupert Foundation, Ms. Priscilla Boyson, Ms. J.D. Lakay. From the Mersita, we have Mr. Gerald Slabbert and Mr. Andre van Wyk. From the UFS Institutional Advancement Office, we have a team of colleagues there who support this work, led by Ms. Anamia van der Heever, members of the faculty management of the Faculty of Education at the UFS, colleagues from the Department of Basic Education, the officials, our collaborators and partners from the 6 different universities, Dr. Kobus van Breda and the staff in the Science for the Future unit, and to the participating teachers from, is it 5 provinces? Free State, are you there? Yeah. Okay. KwaZulu-Natal? Oh, shame. Gauteng? Okay. Northern Cape? Wow. And back home, Eastern Cape? There we are. Thank you very much. You are all welcome. I noticed that in the statement that we put out on this program that we are actually celebrating and launching today, we gave you a very conservative estimate that it will affect more than 30,000 teachers, learners, and parents in 7 provinces. But if you think about the fact that we've invited more than 300 teachers here, and each one of you work with a class of about 35 learners, and I'm being very conservative, I know you go up to 60, yes, and you don't teach just one class, you teach many classes. So, suppose you work with 35 of them, and there's over 300 of you, that would affect over 10,000 learners. Now, you've just confirmed to me that you don't work with 35. So it means you are way over 10,000. Now, this is just the University of the Free State. We're adding 6 other universities. Now, if each one of them took 10,000 plus, you can see that 30,000 is really an underestimation, right? Yes, so this engagement is likely to involve and benefit many more learners. In fact, I was calculating that over a 10-year period, we'll probably be close to 1 million learners that will be influenced by yourselves. So you've got a very big task, and 10 years from now, I will be doing research to actually see the impact of your work. Sanral is also helping us through its generous sponsorship of the Sanral Chair in Mathematics, Natural Science and Technology Education, and that's where we do the research. Now, Kobus, I hope you've written down your remarks, because when we launched the Sanral Chair, I didn't have something written down. So I was asked to speak and talk about the goals. Then I said, in 5 years, we hope to produce 25 PhDs. But I actually wanted to say we hope to recruit 25 PhDs, not to graduate 25 PhDs. But before I could withdraw and correct myself, the CEO of SANRAL then, and the Vice Chancellor, and the MEC Komphela, they stood up and clapped. And I couldn't say, no, you're clapping for the wrong target. So I was stuck with the 25 PhDs in 5 years. But I'm happy to say that we've actually managed to do 28 PhDs in 5 years. So thanks again to SANRAL for that challenge. Ladies and gentlemen, with those few words of welcome, you are all welcome. Don't just feel at home, be at home. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Jita. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm now going to give you a very short brief about the project. We must just remember there are people in the audience that's now here for the first time. So I'm going to say all protocol observed and just get on my way with the presentation. It will be short. Ladies and gentlemen, Science for the Future is an academic entity at the Faculty of Education on the Bloemfontein campus of the University of the Free State. Also, we coexist and collaborate with the School of MNST. It stands for Mathematics, Natural Science and Technology Education, as well as other UFS entities like Boyden Observatory, Naval Hill Planetarium. Our mission statement is quite clear. It's the advancement of innovative and effective mathematics in science teaching and learning. So the project Rationale, the whole initiative, we know from research that there are many factors that prevent learners, especially in the rural areas of South Africa, to excel in mathematics, in science. These factors like teacher subject content knowledge, teaching skills, teaching resources at school and at home, parental involvement, and the language of learning, and teaching that differs from home languages. It all plays a very important role in achievement. Now, Science for the Future developed 2 programs, the Family Math program as well as a Key Concepts in Science program, to address these issues in an innovative way within the context of 21st century teaching and learning skills. Both programs are underpinned by a social constructivist philosophy of teaching and learning. That just means that it's characterized by hands-on, minds-on activity sessions, in other words, active learning in a social context. Learning takes place where people interact with each other, and the focus is very importantly on understanding of concepts rather than isolated facts and textbook knowledge. Here's just a photo to see some of our colleagues in action during the training, the Key Concepts training. There's a photo with some of our other colleagues in action during the Family Math training. Now, due to a long-term partnership with SANRAL, Science for the Future was able to implement the 2 programs successfully in 5 provinces over the past few years. Now, as they say, success breeds success, and an immense growth in the number of project participants took place. At this stage, I just want you to look at the graph to see from 2009 to 2019 how it grew. I will come to the numbers later on. So the expansion of the programs to other SA universities was mainly informed by 2 factors. This is very important. The one is, in order to scale up, more capacity and centers of excellence were required. And number 2, the increasing demand for higher education institutions in South Africa to become involved in the development of 21st century teaching and learning skills, as well as scholarly service to communities. So, with the support of SANRAL, and they are advocates of skill development in South Africa, the UFS Universities Collaboration Initiative was conceptualized. Here's your 6 universities on the different campuses, and we've already, mid-2019, signed memorandums of agreement with all 6 universities, and we are looking forward to what's going to be in the future. So, after attending 2 induction sessions at the UFS, the 25 facilitators from the collaborating universities have already commenced with teacher training sessions at their institutions, followed by classroom implementation and parent workshops. Now, I just want to mention, I mean, this is 25 colleagues from other universities since we started to implement mid-2019. So I think that is an achievement on its own. So I want to congratulate my colleagues from the other universities here. And maybe you can just stand up and then you can go and sit down so that everybody can just quickly see you. Other university facilitators, here they are. As you can see from these photos, they are already busy with implementing. There you can see the teachers training. There you can see the classroom training of the teachers that they trained. You can also see that the parents are already implementing what they've been trained for. So we are already doing what we're supposed to do. Now, as Prof. Gita mentioned, apart from the University Collaboration Initiative, SANRAL also funds the Physical Sciences ICT Lab program at the Faculty of Education. We expose our education student educators to the Family Math program. And Prof. Gita mentioned that the UFS SANRAL Chair in Mathematics, Natural Science and Technology Education is also supported by SANRAL. Now, here's the last slide or 2, and here's the stats. Prof. Gita, I crushed the numbers late last night after I got the information for today. Now, the University of the Free State, only the Family Math program this year, 2019, this is already done. 35,515 active participants. That's educators, learners, parents, subject advisors, student educators. I said this morning, it's absolutely not about the numbers. It's about the quality of the intervention. But let's add the Family Math Universities Collaboration Initiative. And we must now remember, we've just started. So what we tried to do at the universities, we took just a few teachers, just to go through the motions, to get used to the whole project management. So there's another 1,677 participants. Now the key concepts, our Natural Sciences Grade 8 and 9 program, the UFS have 2,749 participants this year. The university's 374. If you add all those numbers, you add up to 40,315 for 2019, right now where we stand. So next year, all those universities, we will have this number growing. 40,000 is a huge lot. I told my colleagues this morning, I attended a Currie Cup final 2 weeks ago, and there were 38,000 people. And I realized how many it is. And I know many of my other colleagues in other provinces will never have that privilege to realize how many is 40,000 people, but that was just my realization. Thank you, SANRAL. Thank you once again. I'm now going to ask the Rector of the University of the Free State, Prof. Francis, to do his address.
Thank you very much, Kobus. And I would like to start off by welcoming Mr. Makuzoma, CEO of SANRAL, and also other members of the SANRAL board that is here this afternoon. Representatives from the Rupert Foundation and Mercieta, the Chair of Council, Mr. Willem Lowe, welcome to you, sir. Senior members of the university management, in particular our Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Professor Puleng Kabula, and Professor Jita, and other members of the senior membership that are here this afternoon. Representatives from our 6 partnership or partner universities, some of the University of Free State staff that's here this afternoon, teachers, and I see there's a lot of teachers here this afternoon from different provinces. Welcome to you, also here in the midst of the University of the Free State campus, members of the media that's here, and all ladies and gentlemen. From my side, welcome on our campus, and I know that you have been deliberating on your program already early on this morning. Now, the celebration this afternoon is really a SANRAL University of the Free State celebration, and I'm going to just move this a little bit so that I can see the colleagues of SANRAL there. And that's the partnership that we're talking about. Now, SANRAL, and in a partnership, one need to understand who are the partners in the partnership. So SANRAL, I'm an engineer myself, and my first engagement with SANRAL was when I was Dean of the Faculty of Engineering at the University of Cape Town. And I also at that point, it's probably the same time when the chairs was made available. Nazir Ali was still the CEO at that stage, and we engaged to get a chair in transport studies at the University of Cape Town. And that was my not the first, but the more in-depth engagement with SANRAL. So SANRAL, as you all know, manages a national road network of almost 22,000 kilometers in 9 provinces. But that's not all that they do. Because when one look at the business model of SANRAL, is while they engage themselves in making sure that the road is of good quality, or they develop new roads and construct new roads, they have to also make sure that the communities along the roads are impacted positively through their engagements in constructing the road, which for me is a very innovative business model. And I really appreciated the way that you've gone about to tackle it in that way. And I'll come a little bit later, we'll make the analogy or the comparison between exactly their business model and what universities should be all about. So they not only therefore use the infrastructure projects to develop the country and making sure that it's more accessible, they also use the infrastructure projects to add other value that deal with alleviation of poverty and to a certain extent also elevate the status of women, not only in the organization but also in the projects that they engage with. So that's for me a partner that as a university we would like to be associated with. And from that perspective, SANRAL, the CEO, the board members, and also the executive from SANRAL that's here, you're almost very, very welcome, and we would like to see whether that partnership can even grow further than what it is at the moment. Now, both Professor Jita and Kobus van Bedal has indicated the involvement of SANRAL in the partnership and collaboration with the University of the Free State. I think Kobus mentioned about the family math and the key concepts program, in science program. We also have physical sciences and ICT laboratory program for the Science for Future. And then the education students family math that is also crucial in terms of the engagement. And then we all know about the SANRAL chair, which Professor Jita effectively indicated that the levels that you put forward in terms of thresholds of delivery is far too low. So you probably have to go and reassess that again when we hope we're going to continue with the next cycle. But thank you for that involvement. Now, when we look at, and specifically for the teachers, you know, when students exit the schools, say at matric level and enter the university, about 2 years ago, the government has provided the subsidized free higher education program funding program to be able to support students that come from households that earn up to about 350,000 rand per year. And which was very crucial because that initiative has increased the access into higher education. At the moment, the participation rate of students, and in fact of learners, into universities, in the age group between 18 and 24, because that's sort of more or less the average age that you're supposed to be at university, the participation rate in South Africa is 19.5%. The National Development Plan indicates that we should have a participation rate by 2030 of over 30%. With our existing infrastructure, that might not be possible. But nevertheless, access is a crucial part. But it can't stop there, because if you only focus on access and you not really put efforts to ensure that those students that enter the university exit the university with a qualification, then in fact it's money not well spent. And therefore, success is for us quite important. And in fact, what I've seen in this collaboration and also in the Science for Future program, it is exactly that. Is to bring people in, but also to make sure that the concepts that we develop, what we do, help also to make learners and also ultimately the students that enter the universities more successful in what they do. And then specifically in relation to the STEM area, the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And the good work that the teachers are doing it needs to be complemented. But I often, when I engage with industry, industry will tell you this is how we operate. This is our business model. And they would ask the question, so what is the business of the university? And that's often a terminology that university academics don't use, is to say that we're not really a business. But when I engage with the industry, I use the concept of what is the business of the university. So as a university, we teach and learn, we do research, but there are two very important aspects that form part of the business of the university. And that is, to what extent do we engage with our society to make sure that what comes of our knowledge in teaching and learning and in research has an impact on society. Because it's probably correct that if the community will ask you, so what are you doing as a university to make our lives better? What are you doing at the university to make the lives of our children better? To be able to answer that question, we have to work very much closely with our stakeholders in society. And that means if you take the university, that stakeholder is the schools, they are the schools. So our business is to back integrate the university business into the school, and this is a good example of that. But we also need to forward integrate our output into the society so that we understand what society needs and that we don't think that we know what society needs. And to do that, there are other players that the university that are there other than the university that we will have to partner with, engage with. So we need to understand what other knowledge systems, what SANRAL can contribute, what Merceta can contribute, what business and industry, the Sassels of today, the telecoms, dare to say, Escoms of the day, how we can engage with them to be able to ensure that the impact of what we're doing are felt by society. And we in the university call that a very fancy name. We call it engaged scholarship. But that actually is built on partnership, collaboration, and recognizing that the university is not the only entity that produces knowledge. We produce knowledge maybe in a certain way, But Sunral also have different knowledge that is important to have, to learn from, and to work with, to be able to achieve what we need to achieve. And this partnership say that the schools, Sunral, Mercita, the university, and other partners that we can find, it is so crucial that we always say, what is the objective? And to what extent does the different strengths that the people are part of the collaboration bring to that objective, rather than to say, it's about me, it's about my organization. And I think the Science for Future program illustrates exactly that. So, when you look at, and I want to conclude with these remarks, I want to say the business, if I have to simplify it, the business of Sunral is about roads, but it's much broader than roads. But I want to use roads in that concept that there's an African saying that if you want to run or move fast, you do it alone. But if you want to go far, you do it together. And I would like to plea and to compliment where we are at the moment, but also to indicate that we would like to strengthen our collaboration with all our partners in this Science for Future program, so that we can travel together, we can travel far, but as we travel on that road, that we make an impact on our society, because that's ultimately what's going to measure what are we doing and the effectiveness of this. So thank you very much, and once again, it's great to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Peterson. I now call upon the CEO of Sunral, Mr. Matkazoma, to address us.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Because I represent both the board and management at Sunral, today I'm going to have to do the protocol thing. Prof. Francis Peterson, Director and Vice Chancellor of the University of the Free State, Mr. Willem Low, the Chair of the UFS Council, Deputy Vice Chancellors of UFS, including Prof. Buleng Linkubula, Prof. Engela van Staden, the Principal of the Kwakwa campus, Dr. Martin Mendu, the UFS Dean and Vice Deans, including Prof. Loisa Chita, the Dean of the Faculty of NMS-TE, I'm learning. Other members of the University of the Free State present here today, all participating universities in the Science for the Future program, and all other sponsors that are supporting the program. Teachers, parents, learners that form part of the Science for the Future program. My fellow Sunral colleagues and the members of our board that are not present here today, as represented by me. Esteemed guests, members of academia, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. I think what Prof. Peterson has proven today is that not only do great minds think the same, but they also dress the same. I'm proud and deeply honored to stand before you today at the strength of this very successful partnership which we are celebrating today with the University of the Free State, together with the hosting, of course, of the annual Science for the Future Summit. Sunral is humbled by the success that has been achieved through this valuable partnership with the university. Many of you present today will testify that the Free State Province has achieved phenomenal success in its matric pass rate in recent years. Number one, twice, and second this year, with a marked improvement in the performance of learners and in mathematics and science. This is by no coincidence. there are concrete decisions and initiatives that have been taken by the collective in this province, and SANRAL is happy to have made some contribution to this outcome through this partnership with the university. SANRAL's long-term strategy, we call it Horizon 2030, instructed us to develop a new HR strategy for the organization. This HR strategy has identified 3 pillars that underpin SANRAL's human development initiatives: its people, its skills, its performance. And that is our focus going forward. The strategic opportunities identified by SANRAL to achieve what we've set out in our strategy include capitalizing on the opportunity that is presented, of course, by the digital revolution to create a new generation of technology-capable entrepreneurs and workers. The second one, which is very important for us, is the return to good and ethical governance in both the public and private sectors. Bringing back the prestige of serving the citizens of South Africa through state institutions. Fashioning SANRAL as an employer of the future and delivering technical skills to address the glaring skills gap in engineering and other domains. SANRAL has also decided to review and rationalize its support to institutes of higher learning to ensure and grow the footprint of its support programs, increase its impact, and ensure equity. We want to acknowledge and commend the expansion of the Science for the Future program to cover additional institutions, including the Nelson Mandela University, Walter Sisulu University, the University of Limpopo, the University of KwaZulu-Natal, the University of Mpumalanga, and the Salt Lake University in the Northern Cape. With this particular intervention, I think you've guaranteed yourself support from SANRAL for the medium term. This is what SANRAL requires of its partnership with progressive institutions like the University of the Free State. The Science for the Future program is fundamental to generating the required pipeline of technology-capable South African entrepreneurs and workers by focusing on maths and science to support learners, teachers, and parents. Beyond this, SANRAL wants to ensure that learners are equipped with fundamental competencies that are essential to complement academic teachings. And I think we spent about half an hour, if not more, with Prof. Van Breda today, who spoke at length about these competencies that we are saying we also want to make sure the learners achieve beyond just getting academic teachings. That's critical thinking, that's creativity, that's collaboration, that's communication, information literacy, media literacy, technology literacy, and flexibility. You can't find fault with me here, Elna. Spot on. The most important characteristics of the fourth industrial revolution that must be taken into consideration by those who aim to survive it, because some people will just barely survive it. Those who aim to drive it, because you'll always have drivers in society, and those who intend to benefit from it, those who take advantage of the opportunity that comes. The most important characteristics of this revolution that I wanted to highlight today, number one, is a smart customer. You are moving into an era where a customer knows exactly what they want. They know exactly how they want to get it, and they dictate to you how it should be delivered. And that is a shock to the system of traditional business, because you normally sell to people what it is that you think they want, and you tell them how they should get it. The latter is going to run out of business very fast in the fourth industrial revolution, because you are going to have a smart customer who knows exactly what they want. Secondly, and I see it with my kids as well, technology is at the fingertips. It enables rapid, real-time, and borderless information and services. You know, previously I would say when my daughter wanted something, I have to go to the bank first, then maybe if I make it on time, I'll come back and give you what you want. Now there's no excuse. I have to do it on my iPad, I have to do it on my laptop, I have to do it on my phone. Technology as an enabler, bringing efficiencies to logistics, very, very important for giving a business the competitive edge. Mobility, medicine, education, the economy, industries, the military, we've just seen. You don't even need to send a military plane to drop bombs. You can do it with a small little gadget. Global trade and politics, all of these are going to be fundamentally transformed by the enablement that comes with technology. Those are the three very important elements of the fourth industrial revolution that I thought I need to raise today, because if you want to survive it, drive it, and benefit from it, you're going to have to take full cognizance and apply these three elements. For those learners that will end up as engineers, there are interesting world problems and challenges that await. These include mobility as a service across the traditional transport modes. I don't know how many of you have heard of the concept of flying cars. And in the new niche modes, you have what is called hyperloops. You put yourself into a tube and you rapidly get to your destination without having to wait for a train. Full-scale commercial and autonomous vehicles threaten to arrive much sooner than we all originally projected. If we are not geared up, we are going to be overtaken by time, and we are going to deal with massive problems on the road system, because you will have cars that are far advanced than the infrastructure on which they move. The road user now requires to communicate more with road infrastructure, other vehicles, support services, origins, and destinations. When you pull up to your own driveway, you want to be able to tell your driver, your garage to open up without stopping and having to open the gate and manually opening your garage. You tell it as you turn by the corner that I'm coming through, please open up, I'm going to be there in 2 minutes. These are exciting times. The transport interior cabin is also becoming highly advanced to meet the needs of an increasingly demanding road user, who must be entertained as they drive and also assisted as they drive. And all of this needs to happen while making sure that the safety performance of the vehicle and the infrastructure is not compromised. SANRAL is prioritizing innovation, research and development, partnerships, knowledge, and IP preservation. The innovation hub we've established in the Cape Town office, the research panels that we've set up, and the chairs that we're supporting in the different tertiary institutions bear testimony to this focus that SANRAL has now adopted. I finally want to add by paying tribute to some of the men and women who are committed to advancing the partnership between SANRAL and the University of the Free State, while also contributing to its success. Professor Loyiso Jita, for using the opportunity presented by the SANRAL chair at the UFS to conduct cutting-edge research in science and mathematics and education, to producing highly skilled practitioners and researchers. Thank you. Dr. Kobus van Breda, Ms. Amaria Reinders, and all members of the Science for the Future program, for your tenacity in driving the Science for the Future education program, which is now spreading its footprint beyond what you could have envisaged in its origins, both in terms of learners as well as its impact. Thank you very much. The postgraduate candidates, bursary holders, Science of the Future learners, who are the reason for the success of the SANRAL partnership with the University of the Free State. Thank you very much. And finally, I want to thank Ms. Elna Fourie from SANRAL, who is very passionate about human development in all its dimensions and continues to make a significant contribution to SANRAL's skills development program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Matkazoma. Prof. Poleng Linkabula, our Vice Rector, Institutional Change, Student Affairs and Community Engagement, will now do the word of thanks.
Dumelang, Sanibonani, More. I'm trying. Kalimera, ni hao. Good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, Program Director. The Chairperson of Council, Professor Willem Low, the Rector and Vice Chancellor, Professor Francis Peterson, the CEO of SANRAL, Mr. Maklozoma and team, Professor Jita and the Faculty of Education representatives present, representatives of post-school education sector and universities that are collaborating with the University of the Free State on this august project, academics, teachers, students, good afternoon, colleagues. So I listened carefully to the presentations that were made from the program director, the vice chancellor, the CEO of SANRAL, and your own excitement and passion around the developments that this process is about. Mine is not really to give another speech, but to at least tease out and thank you for your participation. What I heard from the presentations of Professor Jita, the Vice Chancellor and the CEO, is that we're moving into a future that requires mathematical sciences to be embedded and to be invested in order to ensure that our society advances into the future that we yearn for. I also heard them stating that for societies to flourish, the interface of knowledge, its production, its dissemination, but its deployment to being resourceful has to find partnerships so that societies flourish. In particular, I heard that in the current context, the future that we imagined is already a present that we should grapple with. Meaning, what we anticipated as great innovations around, for instance, the car that was talked about that can fly, or the idea of 3D printing, or advanced materials that are now produced. The other day I was wearing a dress that is made from plastic, but it didn't look like plastic. So these are new materials that we never thought we would contend with. The idea of artificial intelligence and its opportunities to anticipate what you might say or write, and biotechnologies or blockchain, or the use of drones, robots and autonomous vehicles, or the idea of how do we capture energy in order to resource ourselves, the idea of the internet and virtual reality. I heard us being told that these are quite important for development of our society, precisely because they contribute to economic development, they enhance the quality of life, they increase productivity, they link communities, societies at a local, at a regional, at a global level, but also they ensure that as we imagine the future that we would like, that we access opportunities. How else do we access opportunities? Road infrastructure is one of those aspects that enables us to encounter each other, for market access, for knowledge exchange. And this is one event that celebrates the interface of this. I'm really delighted for the opportunity, and thank you, the Vice Chancellor, for creating an enabling environment for programs and processes such as this to being facilitated. So can we give Vice Chancellor a round of applause? In particular, I also want to thank the CEO of Sandrel, Mr. Makozoma, for really valuing higher education as a partner in the development of knowledge that facilitates the innovations that you were talking about, but as well, that draws on the knowledge that you, as corporates or entities that are in the hotlines of these transport systems, to engaging with us so that we can also contribute constructively to the knowledge production, particularly when we take into cognizance the contribution of African universities into the global knowledge systems. Your partnership helps us to elevate the quality of knowledge that's produced by our university in collaboration with the other universities, but also in the South African higher education sector. So we thank you for your partnership and your team. And as the Vice Chancellor nicely said it, I'm not a Vice Chancellor, so I can put it crudely. We would like more dollars, more yuans, more euros, and more resources support in order that we become as competitive as any university anywhere in the world in the quality of research that we produce, so that we work well together. We think South African universities often come to corporates for corporate social responsibility. We are asking for a partnership. A partnership is more than corporate social responsibility. And I wasn't sent to say this, but my passion is inviting me to request this. So we thank you ahead and in the future that this is a possibility that we could work towards, especially drawing on the work that Professor Jita and team are already undertaking. So thank you very much. And finally, thank you. Finally, I'd like to thank the universities that have found it prudent to collaborate with the University of the Free State, particularly because we are aware in our own basic education, but also high school educational systems, that the competencies, the quality of knowledge base is sometimes very nominal. And by participating in Science for Society, in family maths programs, we're actually enabling and equipping and strengthening teaching opportunities and resourcing of maths and science. You would know that in the World Economic Forum listing of South Africa's performance on STEM subjects, we rank very lowly. Interventions such as this enable us to become globally competitive. So I'm thankful for this opportunity, and thank you, the teachers, for your own commitment. Thank all the participants in this event, and I hope that this is not the beginning of the best that we can contribute to our society, but that we will work in partnership at all times. Thank you very much, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Professor Lenkabula. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of this celebration. This was a wonderful event. Thank you very much. Now, normally I would have asked our esteemed guests to go to the tea room. We have a nice cake to just symbolically do something there. But I think they are supposed to be photo opportunities against the signage, etc. So I'm going to ask if it's possible just to stay for a little bit. Let's see what the media does. And if you will forgive me, maybe the teachers, some of them still have to drive back to all the corners of South Africa and they drive by bus, I think they will appreciate if they can be on the road as quickly as possible. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen.